Oh, Snowden's easily a traitor. I mean, I don't know he had any clue what he was doing while he was doing it, but the end result was you don't go to China and say you go to China because Hong Kong has a reputation for free speech. He should have defected to San Francisco using that logic.
It was not my plan to move to Russia. For people who want the whole sort of backstory behind that, it's in the public domain. I was en route to Latin America when the United States government froze my passport and trapped me here.
Shouldn't have been as easy as it was. His coworkers, when he asked for their passwords, they should have said, "No way in hell, please sit down while I call security." His coworkers, frankly, for the most part, yeah, they should have been fired for giving away their passwords. That's computer security 101. The rest of what he did by just fishing around and taking advantage of default access that everybody else had, and that really access permissions should have been much harder. Apparently NSA was in the process of implementing misuse and abuse detection, but they didn't roll it out to the Pacific Theater, which is where he was based. So there were a lot of mistakes made, and anybody could have done it if they were a sociopath themselves. So regarding Russian election hacking, it's pretty much 100%. And frankly, I'd almost be disappointed in Russia if they weren't doing this. You know, you got to give Putin credit for what he's been able to accomplish. Saying they've had no involvement, it's like, of course, nobody's going to claim involvement. The reality, though, is it was an incredible coup on his part. How do we know it's there? Because in the first place, the US government doesn't come out and do attribution easily. That's number one. And frankly, it wasn't even the US government that came out first. It was like, you know, companies like Cylance, CrowdStrike, and others that looked at the software that was used in the election-related hacking of Podesta's emails and others, and said, these are the type of tools that are specific to the GRU and SVR and SVB or whoever it was at the time. And they said specifically, we know who it is. And this was independent of the US government because of all the other investigations that they've done. Also, it's probably assumed that the US government watched people transfer the data to WikiLeaks because Russia didn't say, hey, they didn't just have, for example, a GRU courier go over to Julian Assange and say, here's a bunch of data. They sent it through a bunch of intermediaries, and the odds are good the US watched it go to WikiLeaks, which essentially, for all practical purposes, is a Russian front company. And frankly, if Russia isn't trying to do something like this, as a US citizen, outraged. If I was a Russian citizen and Russia said they're not trying to do anything, I'd be pissed at Putin and the whole government for saying we would never do this. That's a bunch of crap. Oh, state-sponsored hacking is a given by all parties. Again, I'd love to think the US is on top of everything. I mean, that asshole Snowden, he did disclose that NSA does have some of the best hacking capability in the world. Russia is clearly second. China might or might not be third, but they're just so egregious and they don't care about getting caught that they just get caught, which is the biggest problem with espionage. You don't want to get caught. So, and then North Korea, Iran, those are probably the biggest concerns because they have significant capability, but they're much more rogue countries that have nothing to lose. So they're more likely to cause damage in these cases.
I think it is absolutely tragic, even repulsive, that the only place an American whistleblower can be safe is in Russia.